Okay, so we're in my second shed. This is primarily a junk shed at the moment, but it contains my fifth battery bank, which is battery bank E, most appropriately titled, of course. And what we have here is four 125 amp AGM batteries that are connected in two lots of 24 and parallel together. It's a bit dark, you can't see it very well, but I'm not really here to show the batteries. I've got this inverter on them and it's actually at the moment running to drain a bit of power off, because we're really here to investigate this charge controller, and this is specifically for Julian Eilert, who was interested in this. It's a cheap PWM charge controller. I have about 5 of them that I acquired off the backs of some folding solar panels, and they may not be true PWM, but they exhibit this really funny tendency. Now, at the moment you can see the sun LEDs on, which means this thing is pretty much putting in 100% into the batteries, because I've got that inverter there running a load to draw it down, because it won't do this little phenomenon I'm about to show unless it's actually on full charge mode and bulk charge or whatever. It won't do it when it's floating. So, Julian's trick, the receiver. I would normally use a crystal earphone for this, but this will probably work better with a camera, so you'll be able to hear it. As you can hear, it's clicking. That extra hash is probably from that modified square inverter down there, so ignore that. But very soon, it will do its thing. Well, we didn't have to wait for it, did we? I say every 20 or so seconds, maybe it's 30 seconds, it does that. And this is when it's supposed to be pushing through 100% connection. Bit bizarre. And like I say, I've got several of these controllers. Well, I've actually got 5 of them, I believe. And they all do it. It's not a particular instance with this particular one. They're kind of quite good charge controls in the sense that it's like when you're at a light station and you've got to stop talking when the foghorn goes off. I'll turn it off for a sec. They're quite good in the sense that they're 12 and 24 volts auto selecting. However, the problem with keeping these AGM batteries charged up, and that's why I showed the batteries at the start, is that they don't seem to get the batteries much past 13.8 volts for a 12 volt battery. Obviously double that for a 24. I haven't really seen the voltmeter go above 27.3 or something like that, which I'm getting a little bit concerned about as time wears on, because it means that these aren't getting a mini equalization, which AGMs really do need. So they, so I'm going to change this charge controller really soon for one that will get up to 14.5, which is okay for an AGM. Obviously not for a gel, but I don't have gels on this circuit. So there we go. So this is running my AGM batteries for now. This system in here has got a couple of 100 watt solar panels on the roof in series. I've got a couple of 15 watt amorphous too, but they're not actually connected in yet. I'm going to build a nice board here for stuff, but it's sort of just thrown together at the moment. In fact, but you won't be able to see because of the dark. Or you can just about see. I'm even using nasty alligator clips as connections at the moment, which I always go on against, but there's no moisture in here, really. It's alright for now, but I will change that and go to eyelets. So, one more thing to show about this. I was wondering whether those funny tones are a desulphating cycle built into this. And as it would happen in the same shed here, just here, I have a desulphator in action. We'll try the radio with this. As you can hear, that tone there is definitely the desulphator, because it was going with the LED. So, that's the desulphator. Those other tones, see if we can get them going. They're going to take their time, but they come through pretty strong. Just leave that there. Well, this is an old twin tub washing machine which we use over the winter as a spinner. Anyway, I might as well say something about this desulphator. My partner got this for me for the winter solstice because I've been wanting to try a commercial one, and actually I'm very impressed with it. This is the first deep cycle battery I ever owned. It's an old Century 50 amp hour, and it was starting to sit at like 12.2, or that's annoying. It was starting to sit at 12.2 or 12.3, but I had that desulphator on and off this like just overnight for less than a week, and it was, last I checked, it was sitting at 12.6 after a couple of days off charge. So I was pretty impressed with this thing. At the moment it's on a marine battery that my dad gave me out of his camper van, but I don't expect it'll save this because I think there's a collapsed cell, so a desulphator of course won't fix that. But a little trick here, this thing will cut out when the voltage gets below 11.5, which is pretty useless for resurrecting a completely dead battery. So what you can do of course is put a charger supply onto the battery at the same time as the desulphator. In my case I'm using those 50 watt amorphous panels that I was talking about earlier as the charge supply. However, there's one little issue if you connect a charger at the same time, is that there's a high chance that the charge current, well not the charge current, but the desulphation pulse will actually disappear partly through your charge circuitry. So how do you stop that? Simple. You put an inductor in series with your charger. And I've heard of people just saying you get the charger wire and wind it around your hand 6 to 10 times and make a little loop, but I think a slightly better way is this is a low voltage 12 volt power transformer. The primary's open circuit but the secondary's still good, so I'm just using it as an inductor. What that means is this will act as a high resistance to the high frequency pulses of this, and they will not go down the line towards the solar panel. Instead they will actually go into the battery. So there you go, there's a little trick for running a desulphator and a charge together. There we have it. I think that'll be enough for today. Wow, that's quite a long video. I hope it wasn't too rambly, but you get the points there.